Today we're going to make a patch on the Sequential Take 5 in the spirit of Blade Runner. It's a cliche at this point, but it sounds good and it feels good to play. A big washy pad that swells, has some internal motion, and then has some pitch falls at the end of it. So we'll start with the basic program. This is a beta unit, so some of the labeling up here is reversed on the release unit. So going to global, and item 28 is basic program. And now we've got basic program. First, we're going to get the droopiness on oscillator 2 first. So I'm going to turn down all the other oscillators so I can just hear the effect of oscillator 2. And I'm going to switch modes on the envelopes over here to filter amp on envelope 2 and aux envelope on envelope 1. We're going to turn envelope 1 into a pitch envelope. So to quick assign, hold the velocity button on envelope 1 and then turn the knob you want it to mod. In this case, os2. So I want to play a note, I want the pitch to go up, and I want it to stay there while I'm holding the keyboard. And then when I let go, I want it to go and droop down. Amount at max on the aux envelope. Let's put the attack at noon or so. Decay at 0. Sustain at maximum. So it's going up, and then we'll knock up the release on both envelopes so that we can hear it come back down. Release at 1 o'clock or so. Great. And now we can turn up the other oscillators because we're going to have to adjust the fine tune so that it matches oscillator 1. We'll turn up os 1, sub oscillator. They're all up. Somewhere in there. A little past 3 o'clock. Oh, now I'm going to put oscillator 2 down an octave because I want it to go up and match the pitch of oscillator 1. And then when I let go for it to fall down. Yeah, sort of THX. All right, next we're going to adjust our filter and amp envelope to be like a pad. So we'll put the attack at 1 o'clock, so it fades up. Decay, 4 o'clock. Sustain at noon. And then release at 3 o'clock or so that we can hear the tails. That's the whole point. And now amount at noon or so. This amount knob on filter and amp mode is affecting the amount of this envelope being applied to the cutoff as opposed to the amp in the other mode. So to hear the effect, we're going to have to put the cutoff at 0 so that the filter opens it up in that shape. Good. Okay, let's add some resonance, about 10 o'clock. Some filter drive, 2 o'clock, just for more mud. Great. And next, I want to add some motion with the LFOs for some PWM on oscillator 1 and 2. So for quick assign, hold destination on LFO 2 and turn the knob you want to mod. I turned os 1 shape, so it assigned that, but I'm going to scroll over to os all shape because I want both oscillators being changed by LFO 2. Let's set the frequency to 10 o'clock or so, medium speed, and set the amount of this modulator to 45 or 50. None of these specific values matter. It just kind of goes off feel. So that's a moderate amount. There's some more motion happening now. Okay, for even more mud, let's turn the vintage knob so we get some detuning between the 5 voices. And I'm also going to apply noise as a modulator to the pitch of oscillator 2, just a little bit, so that we get some fuzziness in that oscillator. So hold source assign. I'm going to turn noise, and it made a mod slot with noise as the source. Let's change the value to 50 or so. And then for destination assign, I'm going to do oscillator 2's fine tune. We're mostly there. Now we need a big washy verb and some delay. So there's a dedicated verb on the Take 5, which is great. So turn that on, put the mix at noon or so. And let's see, size, hefty size, 3 o'clock, let's say. Pre-delay, 9 or 10 o'clock. Decay all the way to max. I want a big lexicon-y verb. And I'll put the tone up at 1 o'clock so it's not too dark. Okay, now that we've got a verb, I want to modify the verb. We can do that by adding some subtle modifiers in the mod matrix. All right, I'm going to add voice spread as a modifier to the reverb pre-delay so that as I play across the keyboard, it's going to add some changes to the pre-delay, which will end up being like subtle pitch modulations. For the quick assign on the destination, hold destination assign and then turn pre-delay. And then let's say 6, just a little bit so we get a little warble. And then I'll add another modifier, note number. So that way as I'm playing across the keyboard, it's changing the pre-delay in subtle ways too. So we'll do that again. Destination assign, pre-delay. Let's say 5. Oh, we gotta fix our oscillator to fine tune. There we go. And now let's add a delay to make things even mushier. They added this new tape algorithm, which is fun. So I'll use tape 1. Tape 2 has more saturation. Tape 1, let's do time at noon. Just slow. Mix at 11 o'clock or so, so that there's a lot of it. Feedback at 11 o'clock. Let's feedback. No clock sync. So. All right, next I'm going to add some dynamic modifiers like pressure. So this way when I press down on the keyboard, I'm gonna assign it to oscillator 2's fine pitch so that it just makes it a little sharp. That'll be fun. So we go source assign pressure. There it is. Pressure is the same as aftertouch. And I'll do destination assign oscillator 2. And then let's do 10 or 11. That way, as I press down, we get a bend. I put it up to 15. It's a little harder. Yeah. And then next, let's have our mod wheel open up the cutoff. By default, it goes into slot 2 and is assigned to LFO 1 amount. Not going to use that. I'm going to assign it to cutoff, so we can scroll to cutoff. Or you could do quick assign with the mod matrix. Let's do 50 or 30. There, that way it opens up. Great, we got a big mushy pad that droops up and down. And one cool thing on the Take 5 is the key split, which it's a small keyboard on purpose. So this way we can make a split that's an octave down or 2 octaves down the left hand really quickly. So by default, it does the split here, B and C, but you can change that. Default's fine for me. So I press key split and it goes down an octave. There. Up, down. So I can get more bass notes. If you have a Prophet X or a Rev 2, you can get similar results with some tweaks. If you have a Rev 2, I have a preset pack on my website dedicated to these kinds of epic big pads called Mammoth Pads. Happy patching.